the Oroville City Council regular meeting for June 3rd, 2025. We just returned from closed session. Mr. Attorney, can you give us a report?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. From closed session, there's no reportable action, and direction was given to staff on all items. Thank you.
Next item is Pledge of Allegiance. Chief Wine, would you introduce or lead us in the pledge?
Stand. Salute. Pledge.
Welcome, everyone. This is the Oroville City Council chambers. Just a couple quick notes. If we do have a reason to leave the building, we have an exit over here on that wall, and then, of course, the way you came in the building. And then if you need to use a restroom, it's down the hallway. And if we do need to clear the room, we'll have our police chief be the last one out of the building. And if we do leave, we like to ask everyone to go to the parking lot on the other side of City Hall just to account for everyone. Just a little safety message for the evening. We have adoption of agenda. Before I ask for a motion on that, I've got to move an item. We have to move item number 2 in consent agenda to, we're going to call it, I'm going to label it as item number 9 in regular agenda. So that'll be a movement from consent to regular agenda, according to the rules with Public Employee Retirement System.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes. All right. Presentations and proclamations. This is a special evening. We actually have swearing in of new officers. Chief?
Mr. Mayor, if I would, we actually didn't approve the agenda with that change.
Oh, that's
Could we
right.
do that? Thank you.
I did, excuse me, do I hear a motion for approving the agenda with that change?
So moved with the changes noted.
Second.
Call the roll, please. Thank you, sir. Where's my thing at? There we go. Okay.
Motion
I'm let up.
passes unanimously.
Thank you. Thank you for correcting me. Chief Wines. You're on. Yeah.
Well, this is one of the fun times that we get when we get to bring in new officers. And we got 3 tonight. They've been employed for a while, but it's an opportunity to come together, show them off to our community. And I'm really proud of this group. And our first one's going to be Tyler Main. Come on up, Mr. Main. Mr. Main is, we'll call a successful graduate of our municipal law enforcement program. He's been an MLE with us for quite a few years now, and he has now reached the milestone of becoming an officer. So we're very grateful and proud to have him come on board. So if you'll raise your right hand from here. We're not there yet. So I state your name.
I, Tyler Main,
Do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties upon which I am about to enter
the duties upon which I am about to enter
for the City of Oroville Police Department.
for the City of Oroville Police Department.
Welcome aboard. And I believe you have somebody special coming up to place the golden badge on, huh? Come on up, sir. And who is this gentleman?
My father.
This is his father. So from one family to another.
He's gonna have to do the bottom himself.
Tyler, go ahead and sign there. This is exactly how I spent 6 years in the Navy. Sign here.
Cool.
Congratulations and welcome on board. Detective Investigator Mary Barker. I don't have a good side, so. Mary, we were able to bring over from the Butte County Sheriff's Office. She comes with many years of experience and is well skilled and versed in child abuse and digital forensics. So we're extremely grateful to have her to come on board. She has already done an amazing job with helping us undo a backlog and get us on a good path for our investigative procedures. So another great catch for the city of Oroville. So raise your right hand. I
I, Mary Barker,
do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties upon which I'm about to enter
the duties I'm upon to enter
for the city of the Oroville Police Department.
for the City of Oroville Police Department.
All right.
Sorry.
Actually, before, I think Captain Boyd. You want to wait a little bit? I have to be good because he was my old SWAT team leader, so. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
And because he's administration, I'll say, and last but least, is new Lieutenant Travis Johnson. So Travis comes to us with many years of experience. Started off with Chico Police and did many years there with their traffic unit and worked a long time with them. Went over to Glenn County. And when was poking around trying to get him over here, he saw a look at the city and what we were doing and said he absolutely wanted to be a part of that. So we were able to grab him over and very grateful, again, hit the ground running, started cleaning out the areas and getting some things figured out that I couldn't do myself. So again, huge benefit to the city. Travis?
Yes.
I state your name.
I, Travis Johnson,
Do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties upon which I am about to enter
the duties upon which I am about to enter
for the City of Oroville Police Department.
for the City of Oroville Police Department.
Welcome aboard. You can just jam it right in there. That's why we wear this. It covers up the
First
blood. so.
blood. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Wines, and congratulations to all our new officers. All right, next item. Would you all like to have a photo of all three officers? Group shot?
I'm being nodded yes.
The chief. With the chief.
There you go.
Step stool.
All right, very good. Thank you all. Good idea. Next item is actually public communications. Do we have any cards?
Yes, sir, we sure do. I will begin with Linda, followed by Terry DuBose.
Should I face this way or that way?
No, this way is the best way, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, my 3 minutes. I think everybody knows that Orville could probably do with another pool because some of us really need the fitness
Thank you.
of swimming. We can do the walking, but the swimming is really important. So this is a bid for the YMCA pool to get some funding so we can get the pool off the ground again. So this is Ron, and Ron is a trustee of the pool. And how it would work is my company would rent the pool from Ron for profit, but some to charity, the church across the road, Ron's own charity, and we're actually also thinking multi-faith ideas with it. I'll tell you the fun punchline at the very end. So why I give you my resume here is because to explain my stability with the community and my love of the community in general. So my most recent work has been employment specialist for people with developmental disabilities. And if you look here, these are the 14 companies that I linked for Arca Butte County for people to have internships who have learning disabilities and developmental disabilities. There were 14 companies that I linked for Arca Butte County. And before that, I ran a music school in the Bay Area for 20 years, in England 10 years, Bay Area 10 years, for profit. So I'm used to running large groups of people, 316 teachers, 300 students. And so this is my wheelhouse. I know I can run this pool. I know I can make it absolutely beautiful. I have a mentor, Scott, at Chico Sports Club, and he's mentoring me on how to go about some of the legalities and stuff. So I've actually already made the website. If we can get the funding, it'd be beautiful. And it was Ron's idea to call it Linda's Pool. Kind of colloquial, and we've done the marketing for the banners. I love marketing. It's not fluffy to me. This is community. This is getting people fit. I'm about, let's get Orville fit. Here's a picture of me as a lifeguard. Mm-hmm. I was a lifeguard that got the YMCA through the inspection. I did the PH. My dad taught me how to do PH at age 6 in Santa Cruz and watched the pool be built when I was a kid. I got through the inspection, and then the week later, they closed the pool. So these are the photos of the beautiful bathrooms there now at Ron's place. Mm-hmm. Ron is actually Hare Krishna, but he's also Bank of America security. So Ron, it's an amazing arrangement because Ron can be there he's already got the security cameras all set up, and he'll be there for. Oh no!
Linda, thank you very much. We do have a follow-up question from Councilman Weber, if you may ask.
Hi, Linda, it's so good to see you. You're one of my favorite constituents. I'm seeing this proposal, okay, and you're talking about the pool right around the corner, right? Okay, and Ron, you're the new owner of the pool, okay. Okay, gotcha. So what is, okay, so by coming to us, I see you've got a well thought out, a rental agreement. You're pitching the idea of running this pool, but what do you what do you need from us? Or like, what would be the purpose of coming?
The 20,000, I've got 3 quotes, 20,000 to skim the pool and the pump. And just my punchline is if the city can do this, I'll give free swim lessons to kids in Oroville on Saturdays. And we'll have adults in the week, pay $55 a month.
So I know that when this pool was shut down, that there was a loss in the community because there's only one warm water pool in Oroville right now. That's Nelson.
Yeah.
But downtown there was a lot of my constituents that were elderly that use this a lot.
Yeah.
Especially a lot of the folks from the Orange Tree Apartments, which are right around the corner
Yeah.
from you. Have you talked to them at all? Yeah.
I have talked to a lot of people, and people are really wanting the pool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Orange Tree Apartments, I know the people there, they let me put up flyers for it.
Yeah.
Basically, over a year, it will ramp up with my marketing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's definitely need, and I commend your desire to do this and your heart and your passion for this for sure.
A lot of heart and passion.
So what have you gotten what do you mean skim? When you say skim, you mean gunite? Like
Yeah, gunite the
we
pool.
knew that was an
There's
issue
3
before.
quotes, 2 in Sacramento and 1 from Oroville. The Oroville one is 20,000, about 23,000, 23,000.
And that
includes a pump.
that includes the pump?
Yeah, and the other one in Sacramento is 12,000, but that, they think it could be 12 to 20, but that includes the pump as well. So I've got 3 quotes coming in pretty much at 20,000,
Okay.
yeah.
We
All
have
right. Well, I see. I have. There was 2 other council persons
She
on there.
just answered my question.
Oh, okay, you got it. Okay. So I want to let Councilmember Thompson ask a question, but I would also like to see if the council would have an appetite to, because I'm for this, because I want to see another pool in our community.
Yeah, Phil, we need to focus on fitness.
Yeah.
Councilman Thompson has a question.
Are you saying we're not fit?
We're fit.
I guess my main question is because I know that the YMCA closed it because of the repairs that were needed for the pool and it was too expensive. So have you done number one, I'm in favor, as just Councilmember Weber said, if we have a budget for this and where we can pull monies to, because
That'd be great. That'd be wonderful.
swimming and water recreation has been a large topic of this council for.
Oh, yeah.
That said, what I don't know, I haven't heard specifically from you that there's been a full inspection of the pool, because what I wouldn't want to see is $20,000 investment and then we come back, stay with me if you can. Is a $20,000 investment and then come back and say, oh, sorry, we didn't realize that it needs actually X, Y, and Z. It's going to be another $150,000, so I want to
agree.
know that if we're investing $20,000, that we're seeing a pool get open and used.
Yeah, my idea is that it goes directly to the company, the pool company. Doesn't even touch my hands. Rich actually has done 45 years of contract work and has done pools. And he was talking to us just before. It's true, I do need to get the company out to see the pool, but the one quote is the YMCA quote, the exact YMCA quote. It's Sierra Pools.
Lynn, I have to kind of cut you off because this is only a public comment. It's not
Oh,
an
so-
agenda item.
Yeah,
So
okay.
what we really suggest you do is sit down with staff, get a hold of our city administrator
Absolutely.
and Patrick, and then get something packaged up so we can actually have a
The more
thorough
the numbers.
Well, a thorough discussion
Yeah.
about everything necessary. But we thank you for coming tonight
Okay.
and presenting the project and letting us be informed. I
And
had
I'm
no idea
honored.
this would work, so
I'm
thank you
honored.
very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, that's all I was going to say. Maybe we could get staff to have a conversation.
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
okay.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
So I
Yep.
can number crunch it a bit better.
Right. Thank you for
Thank you so
coming.
much. All
All
right,
right.
thank you.
Thank you, Linda.
Thank you. Up next, we have Terry DeBose, followed by Vladimir.
Welcome, Terry.
Good evening, Mayor Pittman, Vice Mayor Smith, and council. It's nice to see you all. Thank you for allowing me the time to speak tonight. I'm happy to be here today on behalf of Congressman LaMalfa to support this major push for much-needed housing in Butte County, and to thank the city of Oroville for prioritizing housing needs. Kevin Avila has been a very successful home builder and developer in Chico and across the West. Kevin successfully brought D.R. Horton, one of the nation's largest home builders, to Chico and Oroville, and has moved over 276 lots in the last few years. He is well qualified to help Oroville with this next phase of building. Even before the Camp Fire, Bear Fire, and Park Fire, Butte County needed more housing. Oroville is now stepping up to be a major part of the solution to ensure we have housing built so Butte County can grow and be successful. We have lost so many single-family homes over the last few years and haven't been able to adequately rebuild for various reasons. The prospect of major housing coming into Oroville is a welcome achievement. Congressman LaMalfa's office is ready and willing to help where appropriate with federal agencies to see Oroville be a success. Thank you to all that are involved. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Terry. Anyone else?
Up next, we have Vladimir, followed by Dimitri.
Welcome, Vladimir.
Good evening, City Council. My name is Vladimir Kislanka. I'm a developer and builder out of Auburn, California, right down the highway. We've partnered up with Kevin, with Amber, with the Avila family to do developments throughout the state. So we have projects down in the Eaton Fire, Palisades Fire. We're doing a lot of reconstruction out there with them and doing developments all the way through from Palm Desert through Bakersfield. We have projects in Chico. We have projects in Sacramento. And really, we understand the need and the desire for Oroville to get market rate housing here. And we think we've come up with a formula to make it happen and make it successful and not just start a project and, see what happens. So we think we put together a team that can make it successful. The two things that we are looking at is, one, the affordability index. We know that about 28% of Butte County residents can afford to buy a home. And it's a bit of a sad statistic. We were in the 50% range 4 years ago. And so it's getting tougher and tougher. However, the good thing is the first-time homebuyer market, we're seeing that 47% of people that are first-time homebuyers can buy a median home in Butte County. So we need to put together a system to where it works for all the demographics, not just one group of people for affordable housing, but all of them. So what we'd like to do is we'd like to present our first project, hopefully next session, if we're allowed to, and show you how we're catering each project that we're looking at specifically because of its location, because where it's at, because of the utility situation, infrastructure situation. We want to break it down and show you how it will be successful. So on behalf of us, Premier Enterprise, and the projects that we're doing, if there's any questions and a reach out or meetings that you'd like to have with me or us in the early stages of the projects, we'd be more than happy to meet with anybody and show you and explain exactly what we're attempting to do. Any questions?
Well, thank you, sir. We welcome you, and I appreciate the introduction, and it looks like we have more to talk about in the future. We do have a follow-up question from Councilman Weber.
Yes, thank you so much. I just wanted to say that over the last several months, if not the better part of the year, getting to know Kevin and your team, being introduced to you and Dimitri and everybody involved has been just a pleasure, a real pleasure. And Mayor Pittman and I have really enjoyed getting to know you guys. We see the team, we see the strength, we see what you want to do, we see the investment opportunities, we see the determination, the desire, and the passion, and so I couldn't be more pleased to have you guys being interested in our city, and I'm sure, I'm hoping the rest of the council will see it the same way, and we could really work together collaboratively to work this out to where it makes sense for you, it makes sense for us. I think this is an education opportunity. What you guys bring to the table, from what I've seen, is education, and the reason why the education is so important, because as you educate us, we get stronger. If we succeed, you succeed, everybody succeeds, the buyer succeeds, everybody succeeds. So it's a win-win-win scenario for the future of Oroville and for obviously you guys as well, and for us as a city that we need market rate housing. You know, so I'm really, really excited, very excited for the potential that could come with this. So,
Mr. Weber, I mean, our goal really is, we're not the smartest. Most history in this city. I mean, we've done stuff all over Butte and stuff right on the outskirts of your town. But ultimately, we're trying to bring in all the experts that we can to make sure that they inform us of exactly what we need to do to make it happen. So I think, and even some of the additional comments today will be from people who we're working with. So you can see the team, folks that are involved and will be involved.
Councilman Goodson's in the queue for a quick question.
Yes. 2 questions. So are you looking for a nod from the council to bring back a presentation in the near?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's the first question. Second question. So I heard you mention market rate housing, first-time buyer, and affordability. So your presentation is inclusive of all economic structures?
Correct. So when you take the market rate spectrum, there's everything from entry level. Butte County's medium house price is somewhere in the 380 to 400,000 range. That's the median market. We can come in and build market rate at 500 and 600, but we can really try to make it affordable at market rate and bring it down to that entry level. That way we can have multiple, for example, a strategy is to put multiple homes, different size homes. So that way in one community, we can have the market rate lower end and we can build it up to where we have a larger house where it goes into the median range. So it's all about bringing in a mix so that way it reaches every person and every person can be interested in the neighborhood, not just as we've seen with the existing affordable homes where it's only a certain amount of people that can qualify for that.
So I get that. I mean, I'm looking forward to the presentation. And so you are aware of the demographics. There's 34 to 38% that live below the poverty level.
Absolutely.
So I look forward to your presentation.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your time and effort and look forward to the future. And I like the one word that was mentioned too about having more neighborhoods, because that's really where Orville's at right now, because we're like an amoeba in terms of the city's jurisdiction. And there's a lot of neighborhoods out there that's where people want to live. They want to live in a neighborhood. Yes, they want to have the name of the town, but their neighborhood's much more important than,
Absolutely.
than those things.
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Up next, we have Dimitri, followed by Amberlynn.
Welcome, Dimitri.
Good. Is it evening?
Yeah, I think so.
Dmitry Semenov, Ridgeline Municipal Strategies. We are a registered municipal advisor. Our role is to help cities make better financial decisions with financial planning and funding infrastructure. So as you're beginning this journey of figuring out how to build neighborhoods, how to build up communities, one of the things, if you look around the area, whether it's as far as Elk Grove and Anatolia and Folsom, and then coming closer, Roseville and Rockland and Lincoln and Plumas Lakes, all of those communities were successful because they took infrastructure funding very seriously. And there's a method and there is an approach that does the infrastructure the right way, also in a way that's affordable for future homeowners. And in trying to figure out how can regular people pay for the homes. A big chunk of the price of the home is the infrastructure. So figuring out how to make that piece affordable and cooperating with developer and the city, making sure that the city's interests are protected while the developer is getting funding assistance through the various financing mechanisms, makes for better projects, makes for more affordable projects. So I just wanted to come up here, introduce myself. I'm sure we'll be seeing each other more over the next months and years, and as you're getting questions about how to fund projects, we're looking forward to working with you.
Thank you, Dimitri. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Welcome to Orville. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, we have Amberlyn, followed by Herb.
Oh, Janet, I'm sorry.
Trying to figure out how to craft this.
Dimitri, come up real quick. I missed her. I missed the cue here. It's my fault.
So perhaps a part of your proposal is to figure out how we can, what's the word? Attract businesses that will bring in sustainable living wages so that people can afford all three of those diverse projects.
So economic development is not our role. We are actually.
I know, that's
Yep.
why I said it is, I am hopeful that a part of your proposal would be that. That was
Okay.
kind of like a hypothetical.
But as you're building out infrastructure, that also helps businesses to find the city an attractive option to locate
There
here.
you go. I knew you had a solution.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There you go.
It takes rooftops to build a community.
Exactly. Exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Sorry for the delay.
Up next, we have Amberlyn, followed by Herb.
Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Amberlyn Avila, Butte County local resident, born and raised in Chico. Always been here in Oroville as a young kid, hanging out up in Mount Ida, being on the lake during the summers, and hiking up in Table Mountain. What I'm here today is just to help kind of circle up on the team that we have presented here. We build a lot of homes all over the state, as you've heard. We do a lot right now in Chico, and there's nothing left to build. But we have, according to the Myers Report, which is one of the biggest business statistical reports that we use in order to do this building, we have over 8,000 people in Butte County who are living in apartments, who can are approved and can afford a house. And we want to give them that opportunity. So we're coming to Oroville. We see the perfect time for Oroville to bloom and blossom and grow into the community that it should be. And so I'm just here to introduce you to us and our team and just hope for the best and answer any questions.
Thank you, Amberlyn. We look forward to a long, nice association, and I know you've met some of the city staff, but please reach out. We have a good staff, and they should be very welcoming, and we welcome you tonight, so thank you.
Thank
It's
you.
nice to see the
And
team, and we appreciate the investment in Oroville, certainly.
I would like to also iterate that we are an open door, open phone policy, so if any staff or council have any questions, feel free to reach out.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Do you have any business cards?
Not on me, but sorry.
Yeah, we'll get them.
Well, that.
Reach out to our clerk
Yeah.
and leave that information, and then that can be forwarded on to us. Thank you.
Amy have a question?
No, I just wanted to make a comment. Am I on?
Yep.
Yeah.
The first-time homebuyer program, we do have quite a bit of funds, and we can loan up to a maximum purchase price of $192,000, just so you know.
Okay, thank you. Welcome.
Good evening, council members. My name's Herb Vota. I'm a principal at Rolls Anderson Rolls. I've worked with Kevin on projects big and small, including Amberlyn subdivision, which is a rather large subdivision in the city of Chico. We actually appreciate the opportunity to be on the team with Vlad and with Kevin. We're currently working on some projects with Vlad and Kevin in the city of Chico. As you know, you may or may not know, we've been around a long time. We even do some work for the city of Oroville. And so we have a lot of institutional knowledge that'll hopefully help out with these projects going forward. So
All right.
just wanted to say hi, introduce myself, and
Thank you.
have a good evening.
Welcome. Welcome.
Thank you. Up next, we have the cameraman, followed by Bill Spear.
Cameraman, welcome.
Good evening, Oroville City Council. Public comment tonight on topic of heat. We had a recent taste of summer, I guess, if you will, hitting the triple digits. Just wondering what the city's going to be doing here, eventually looking into cooling centers for the warm temperatures in the near future. I know we've got a lot of displaced people that find hard to find it hard to find some shade and cool off during the day. I was able to take a ride through our city this past weekend where it was still relatively 90 degrees out at 9 o'clock at night, and seeing quite a lot of people with cardboard things over their head to protect them from the sun, moving about. Just keeping in mind of the lesser fortunate people. Another matter I don't know if the city has any real authority over, maybe code enforcement can look into, is the dollar store by off of Lincoln Boulevard where the Big Lots is. They have some sort of air conditioning problem, and this has been a few-year problem where it gets too hot, they can't open, it closes down. The employees, from what I've seen on the Oroville Rants and Raves Facebook, is that if the store isn't operating, they don't get paid. And regardless of them getting paid or not, I mean, there's a lot of people in our community that use that store to get the things they need that they may not able to be, I'm just tongue-tied tonight, may not be able to afford at other places. So, just looking into maybe code enforcement doing something about making sure our public buildings are up to snuff for the summer. I was in the Burger King earlier this past weekend, and it was 91 degrees inside there. So I don't know if it just happened to be that day that their air conditioning was on the fritz towards closing or what, but it's like 91 degrees in the lobby area. I can only imagine that back, where the cooks are. And if it's, if I'm a little sweaty, I mean, I got to imagine there, some sweat's running down the forehead, just hopefully not into my Burger King lettuce. So that's it for public comment. I'm sure you'll be hearing me on a few more items later. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you. Up next, we have
Mr.
Bill.
Spear, welcome.
I'd like to start out by saying I 100% support Kevin Avila and his team, and I'm excited to see the growth coming to our city. The verse of the day was 1 Peter 5:7, but I'm going to read 6 also. Humble yourself, therefore, under God's mighty hand, that he may lift you up in due time. I think that God's lifting us up, and you guys' faithfulness and perseverance and dedication to our city is paying off. That Oroville's getting ready to expand. And then verse 7, which is the verse of the day: cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. Really awesome scripture for the day, and I'd like to pray. Father God, we thank you for all that you're doing in our city, Lord, for the growth and for your wisdom, for provision, for Premier, and Lord, we are so grateful for all the officers that were sworn in, what you're doing in our police force, that you're adding the increase is real encouraged hearing our police chief speak about the new officers. They hit the ground running, that you are bringing people here. It says in your word that if we humble ourselves, you'll lift us up. As we continue to pray, you're attracting people to our city, making us that we are truly a city of gold, a city on a hill, light on a shelf. I pray for, as we move into fire season, our fire department, and thank you for all the firefighters and all of the first responders. And I continue to lift up our rescue mission, and as someone was testifying earlier about the heat and the opportunities that we have to minister from the homeless to City Hall, that you care about us all, and that your word is true. And as we continue to come to you in prayer, you give us that supernatural wisdom, supernatural guidance, supernatural provision. Continue to bless the Hope Center and all the work they do, and all the service groups. We thank you for this new season, and we pray your blessings upon it. Thank you for our city council. Bless them, their families, their health, and we just thank and praise you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thanks, sir. Any more?
Up for submitted public comment card.
Say again?
That's all I have,
That's it.
sir.
Okay, all right, we're good. All right, next item is reports and discussions, but the public hearing was timed at 5:15.
2 minutes early for that, so I don't oppose it. Mr. Hubbard doesn't oppose it.
So,
So we can proceed to the public
Okay.
hearing, given that all parties are here. And
Okay.
no one's opposed to that.
all right,
And we'll stretch into time, I'm sure. So Pat Pye is going to address the issue to you. And then I will.
right, so we'll have to open the public hearing right now.
Yes, sir.
So now at 5:15, my watch, we'll open the public hearing for items 9 and 10 on the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And before Pat starts his presentation, you'll note in the packet the staff report attachments and then a package of applications and responses and so on, numbered city 0001 to 00050. And then also, Mr. Hubbard provided some slides. I think these are the copies, sir. We would like to move all of those items in as exhibits to the public hearing, unless Mr. Hubbard has a specific objection to any of those, in which case we'd ask him to voice that, but I don't think there are any. No objections. All right, thank you. So we would move those be admitted as exhibits, and then Mr. Pyatt can begin. Can I get approval?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. We received an application for a food truck village shortly after the council had adopted a new ordinance which would allow that activity. And through the process of submitting an application, we require drawings so that we can see a site plan and we can understand what the, how public safety will be adhered to and where the trucks will be located, where the path of travel will be for pedestrians and for automobiles and for those that need accessibility considerations. We had a hearing with the Planning Commission, and the staff recommendation was to, because we had not received a site plan at that point, we recommended that the Planning Commission approve the project with the condition that a site plan would be submitted and then would be approved by staff before we move forward.
May I hold you just up for a moment? Because
Yes.
we did have a councilman that had a conflict of interest and has abstained from this discussion. So I just wanted to put that in the record.
We need an explanation.
Yep.
There has to be an explanation of what that conflict is. Yeah, if we just
Okay.
pause the hearing for a moment,
Yep.
we can understand what,
Right.
you know, what that's about.
I just saw that vacant seat and I go, oh.
Yeah, I
we need-
didn't notice that. I didn't realize we'd lost somebody, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's important that we, you know.
Mm.
Yeah, well, they have to. I'm sorry, Councilmember Reynolds. I saw you escape without explaining, and I.
Everybody knew my business.
No, I understand, and.
I'm
appreciate it.
recusing myself because Mr. Hubbard has donated to my campaign within the last year.
Thank you. I appreciate that, and.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for that.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right, we'll resume the hearing now. Thank you, Patrick. Sorry for interruption.
That's okay, thank you. So the Planning Commission did uphold the staff recommendation and approve the project to move forward with the condition that a site plan would be submitted that would, that staff could approve based on safety for the public, and traffic and accessibility access for people that need consideration to the trucks. So the applicant has disagreed, and then that's where we're here tonight. He's appealing the Planning Commission's decision that condition, would like that condition to be removed. He's also suggesting that the city doesn't have authority to make such a condition, and we assert that we do have the authority to make that condition under California state law and then our own charter and local code. So we do also, and also the land use code allows us to do this. So what we're recommending is that council uphold the original planning commission decision and deny the appeal to the applicant. And that's all I have for my presentation.
Does the applicant want to make a presentation? Welcome to the podium then.
Mr. Mayor, before Mr. Hubbard begins, I would just like to apprise the council that per the appeal procedures, he is allotted 20 minutes to
Right,
present.
thank you.
I don't know if he'll take that long, but I just want to make sure
Yeah.
he's understanding the full allotment of time that he has if he wants to continue to discuss the issue as
Sure.
we go through. Thank you.
Thank you.
If I take all 20.
Wrong. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Mayor, this this appeal boils down to one pure question of law, and that is we agree on just about everything else. The site plan's not the problem. I mean, once we know what standards apply, the site plan's the easy part. The pure question of law is whether or not the ADA and California Building Code apply to food trucks parked on a vacant lot. Now, I own the Arco station I can say the only Arco station in Oroville now, but in my previous life, I used to be an ADA disabled access lawyer for 20 years. And I'm not a lawyer anymore, but I still have that knowledge. And I could say, standing here, 100%, the ADA does not apply to vacant lots or food trucks. Now, if I provided 4 slides, and I had to. ADA has been described as highly technical and mind-numbingly boring, and that's the Court of Appeals judge who described that. So I'm going to, if time permits, and I'm going to go through these quickly, run through legally why the ADA or why these statutes don't apply. If you look at the first slide, the ADA applies to 3 conditions. Is it an existing facility? Is it an alteration of an existing facility? Or is it new construction? Now, new construction is defined as something that has a building permit issued after 1993 and a certificate of occupancy issued after 1993. All 3 circumstances, in this case, the answer is no. So the ADA doesn't apply. The second, does California's building code apply? Now, I will say California building code does not include a section on food trucks or food trailers. As a matter of fact, what it does say is the scope of this provision shall apply to construction, alteration, movement, enlargement, replacement, repair, equipment, use, and occupancy, location, maintenance, of every building or structure or any appurtenance connected or attached to such a building or structure throughout the state of California. Food trucks are not structures. California Building Code, again, has no provisions on it, and it's still just a vacant lot. Now, I'm not the only one who shares this opinion. If you look at slide 3, this came from the state architect, the Division of State Architect, that's advisory on the scope. And it says the California Building Code accessibility provisions are applicable to new construction projects as well as alterations of existing buildings and facilities. Again, no buildings, no facilities, vacant lot, food trucks. And this brings me to the last point, which is, was a building permit application submitted? Now, this is also included in the building code. And it's kind of a backdoor reference to what they've been saying the whole time, which is only those standards approved by the California Building Standards Commission that are effective at the time an application for the building permit is submitted shall apply to plans and specifications for the construction from under that permit. It's another way of saying the standards that apply only apply when you submit your building permit. We haven't submitted a building permit. We've submitted a use permit. So, no building, no permit, no codes. And that's basically the pure question of law that I'd like to have resolved today. Now, unless the panel has any, or council has any questions for me, I'm going to sit down.
Do we have any questions from council?
Request to speak.
Councilman Thompson's in the queue.
No, I'm not a food truck, I'm not in the food truck business, but maybe a question for you or for those that are regarding this. I know there's food trucks that are all throughout the state. This isn't the first food truck village within the state of California.
It's not.
So my question is regarding what we're asking of you are there other food truck villages in the state of California? And the first question is there other food truck villages in the state of California that are functioning or operating within the current conditions with this property exist in? Number one. Number two, if this council were to approve the use permit for this food truck village and somebody were to fall as far as, or there be an ADA, complaint, would the city be liable because we approved the use permit? Like, what's the city's liabilities, or does that fall on the property owner? So those two separate questions there.
Well, I'll try and answer those in general terms. In general terms, the city's decision and ministerial duties and the consideration of that does not expose you to liability because of government immunities, or at least, predominantly immunity, quasi-immunities. But I think the whole issue turns on one thing that Mr. Hubbard said, which is this is not a building permit application. This is a conditional use application. And under Article 11, Section 7 of the California Constitution, cities have the power to regulate for the protection of public health, safety, and welfare, and that includes zoning and land use regulations that it can impose. It can impose those discretionary conditions on land use, which this is, as long as they're reasonable and rationally related to protecting the health welfare of the public, and in this case, like a public accommodation. So, notwithstanding whatever you might determine with respect to the applicability of the ADA or what's in the building code, because this is a use permit, a conditional use permit application, the city has the ability to regulate this separately and distinctly from the ADA and the building code. There's that. There's no preemption here with respect to local zoning regulations, say, for example, in the ADA. Even if you wanted to try to get there, this operates completely separately as a power that the city has to ensure safety and accessibility in local matters.
Because I moved from the Bay Area and I've been to food truck villages and they operate on a number of different
It's
conditions.
a matter of, what the locality thinks is appropriate for your community with respect to your decisions on what level of protections you might have, and staff made a recommendation, the Planning Commission upheld it, and here we are discussing it today. I think it's less of a technical application of the ADA that Mr. Hubbard is presenting, and more of a determination of, are you going to regulate land use and conditional land use with accessibility in mind or not?
Can I address 2 points on that?
And then, sorry, the second question?
Second question was what then, Mr.?
Liability, or did you already answer that?
I answered that first.
Okay,
yeah.
great, okay.
Yeah.
I was listening for the first one and then, yeah.
Yeah.
So no, as far as
There are
liability.
immunities with respect to liability that I think would probably push the burden on the landowner or the operator. Yeah.
Mr. Hubbard had some comment. Go ahead.
Yeah, 2 points. Number one, I have to disagree with counsel. I've actually taken two cases up to the California Supreme Court on the issue of whether or not state law is preempted by federal law and how the two interplay. And I've also taken one up to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. Lost one of the California Supreme Court ones, won all the others. And I think there's a definite conflict of law question here, constitutional, whether or not the federal law preempts the state law, the state constitution. Think of it like this. Let's assume that the ADA or the council approves my food truck request or my appeal, approves it on the condition that I have to file my taxes on April 16th and includes that in the use. Now, everyone files their taxes April 15th, unless you're my accountant, then you're filing them like 12 months later. But if the council throws that in there, there's now a conflict between federal law and the council's decision. So what happens? Who survives? And he's absolutely right. The council does have a wide swath of land regulation powers. In this case, though, regarding the ADA and state laws predicated on the ADA, I'm not sure it extends. And so we can just agree to disagree on that point.
If you may, just not for me, but everybody else, just come a little closer to the mic, because
Oh, my apologies.
Yeah, there we go.
May I just answer that really quickly? Preemption, as is described by Mr. Hubbard, it is a thing that exists. It's not something that is explicitly stated in this particular law. But the example that he gave, could I be conditioned to file my taxes on April 16th? You would not be able to do that. And no one would support you being able to do that because it's not rationally related to protection, the health and welfare or safety of the public with respect to their access to the site, right? What you are regulating, which is adding some conditions on the use that directly associate themselves with people's access to it, those are rationally related to protecting health and welfare. So there's a very significant difference in kind between what Mr. Hubbard presented as an example, conditioned upon me filing my taxes on April 16th, and actually saying, we're going to regulate things that are rationally related to health and welfare access. Thank you.
We have Councilman Goodson in the queue.
I
Good
knew I
morning.
needed to squirt. So I'm looking at this from a city council perspective as one who was voted in to be mindful of the welfare and well-being, the protection and the safety of its citizens. And so number one priority is to ensure the safety, the accessibility, and the fairness of all citizens, including those with disabilities. So I think the concerns that have been raised warrant careful evaluation to ensure that our city's policies uphold legal standards and, first and foremost, public safety. So accessibility, compliance, I think that's fair. I believe that the food vendors, the space should provide ADA compliant pathways, counter heights, that's always crucial, and seating to accommodate the individuals with disabilities. And I believe that the vacant lots should be designed to bear that responsibility. So I have other things to say, but I'm going to leave it right there.
Do you have a question for him? No? Okay.
May I point
Other
something out?
than,
Oh, my apologies.
You'd like to respond?
You're going to respond to me?
I am, if with your permission, Councilwoman.
Absolutely.
There's no difference between one food truck and two food trucks under the ADA or California building codes. I'm not better than anyone else, but I'm not worse than anyone else either. And so applying a unique standard just to my food trucks on my property that I own and not enforce it with any of the other food trucks creates a standard where I'm being singled out. And so I have absolutely, I don't want to say I don't have a problem with the council doing this. I think.
Point well taken, though. If you do for one, you must do for all, so I get that.
So, and none of the others have counter height issues, parking, accessible routes of travel, hand washing statements, bathrooms. None of them, so there we are.
Thank you, sir. We have Vice Mayor Smith in the queue with a question.
Thank you. I find this kind of an interesting discussion.
Welcome to my world,
Being
Councilman.
a former contractor, I appreciate the challenge. I think, obviously, the ADA is there, as I think was eloquently pointed out by my colleague, to ensure accessibility for the public. At the same time, the concept of a food truck and/or this type of an establishment is to have a lower cost of operation. And so there's a balance of the business and its operation in contrast to, providing all the needs of the public. So obviously, a food truck is going to provide less than a brick and mortar business would. I mean, there's just a lower expectation, I think, with the public when they approach a food truck as to what services are available to them versus brick and mortar. I think that's just kind of an established assumption that you could make. I have a couple of questions, one for staff. That is, with the other two, there's a total of 3 sites that have been identified. So one question is, have we had any other concerns from the other owner-operators of the other 2 establishments? I know the one up by Home Depot, it's still a vacant lot. I don't know about what the disposition of the other is.
The other,
Mine.
That is yours. That is yours.
Yep.
Okay.
And
he owns,
I was thinking that yours was this was a different
he
site.
owns 2 of them.
Oh, okay. There's where my confusion's coming in.
So we would be holding this standard, so we had approved 3 sites. We would be
Yes.
holding this standard to all 3 sites. So we wouldn't be singling him out. We'd be singling out the food truck village, separating that out from an individual food truck. The staff's opinion is that once you've created a facility of having a group, so a village, as the council had approved in the ordinance, that now it does meet the standards of Section 206.2.2 of the CBC, Chapter 11B, that it is a facility and that it does require, California State Code requires accessibility to facilities. And so, because we're not singling him out, we're singling out the village itself.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate
yeah.
that. I understand that. I don't know. I'm not confused with that at all. I'm just wanting to have a clear view of what's going on. So the other operator then has not objected to.
Well, we don't
I'm
have
the
no one has taken the 3rd spot. He
I'm
has,
Okay, so that hasn't
he has
happened.
2 of them.
Okay, so
he just-
so I'm just wanting to make sure that there's not any disparity or, any other kinds of pushback with this. So that's clear now. So I'm looking at the site map. So there's some established seating areas, right? And then there's a restroom trailer that's identified.
Yep.
So help me understand which part of the ADA requirements that you find overly burdensome.
Fair enough.
Okay?
Fair question.
It is. There's 2 prongs to that problem, the finance and the liability side. So let's focus on the liability side first. And the liability side is, I'm of the opinion that ADA doesn't apply to food trucks and CBC. And I am so confident in that position that I'm willing to risk getting sued to do it. Now, and I was the person doing the suing for 20 years until I retired. Okay? So if I agree to contractual liability, if I agree with the city that I have to comply with the ADA, that I have to comply with the CBC, if I go down that path, then I am acknowledging that I am bound by those statutes. And that then someone, if I don't fulfill them, can come in and sue me on the grounds that I am breaching a contract that's treating, or an agreement that's treating the disabled people differently and denying them the full and equal enjoyment of public accommodation or commercial facility. So that's the first part. The second part is, assuming I do comply with the law, it would require asphalted parking spaces, lowering the counter on every food truck. The tables being accessible, that's not such a big deal. As a matter of fact, I offered to withdraw the tables entirely to reduce the parking requirements with the city, so I don't need tables there. ADA facilities that are satisfy the disabled that don't, other than just a porta potty with a hand washing station. Cemented or other hard surface path of travel that allows the disabled person to travel not only to each and every food truck, but also the sidewalk, a bus stop, and the parking space. And if I don't get it all exactly right, I'm getting sued. Statutory minimum damages, $4,000 per occasion, and $4,000 for every incident insurance.
I appreciate the contrast there, because if you do half of, you have to do all perfectly or not at all. You either make the point I'm exempt or I'm having to comply, and then you have to
And that's-
jot every I, right, cross every T. I appreciate.
And that's why you have a disabled civil rights advocate arguing that his food trucks on a vacant lot don't apply under the ADA. Because
Yeah.
I have to.
Yeah. Okay, so part of the, I guess, for me, the dilemma here is we're kind of being asked to disseminate and interpret California law as it applies to this type of establishment, and I feel somewhat underqualified to do that, because this is in part a legal kind of dilemma here. And so I'm just kind of expressing out loud kind of what's running through my brain in the moment here.
It's the rules of the game, Mr.
Yeah,
Vice Mayor.
it certainly is.
Give it
But, you know, so there's a part of me, see, I would say, well,
Put it
maybe
out.
we could, like a firm surface kind of makes, you know, solid, you know, safe, you know, for rain and those types of things. But anyway, I'll back away and let my other colleagues enter in and engage in this process.
Councilman Johnston's in the queue.
Hi, welcome. Thank you for being here. So I guess my question to you is, if we were to not require the ADA compliance, what specific measures or safeguards would you voluntarily implement to ensure accessibility, safety, and comfort for all of the customers?
That is an excellent question, because I mentioned that to the Planning Commission, that sometimes talking informally about what will be agreed to would be a better solution than ordering it formally. Wes and I even talked about that a time or two. That said, I can say that if the council votes in my favor, doesn't mean that I'm going to give the middle finger to people with disabilities and not do anything. I do have to provide a restroom facility. My mom was a paraplegic since the time she was 16 years old. All my clients for 20 years were disabled people fighting for their civil rights. I can tell you that when I did the Rock and Brews golf course at Cal Expo, the mini golf course, we had 2 of them. I made sure that a person in a wheelchair could visit every hole, even though at the time the law didn't require it. So I can say that I will do everything in my power to provide an accessible.
Understood. Okay, you're understood. Sorry about that.
That's all right. I'll do everything in my power to provide an accessible experience for the patrons at the Food Truck Village. I just can't be ordered to do it.
So obviously, coming from our standpoint, right, we are, our job is the safety and security, and comfort of our constituents. So obviously, safety is first. I believe pretty much we can all agree on that. So, and liability,
You're good on liability.
we don't want to be liable for it either. So, okay, thank you for answering my question.
Councilman Thompson's in the queue, and then Councilman Weber.
Oops.
You're gone. She got you. Don't worry about it. So based on what you said in regarding food trucks, as far as counter height, I mean, there's food trucks all over Orville right now that don't have the ADA countertop height for their, so for, saying that for one. But number two, I'm in favor of a food truck village. I'll just say that. I'm not sure what you were going to put for yours, but I'm ready to make a motion. But you can, I'll let Mr. Councilman Weber speak first.
Councilman Weber's up.
Thank you. Mr. Hubbard has clearly demonstrated from the very beginning of this that he's been following all the rules and trying to get this done. There's how many operators to Councilman Thompson's comment. I don't know of any of my travels, and I work in Chico every day. I go to Yuba City regularly, and being a service provider, I frequent food trucks a lot. I like tacos, so I don't know of any that have any, I can't think of any that have a ADA compliant counter height. Or I'm thinking about the ones that are in the gravel or the dirt or don't have parking or don't have restrooms at all. And I'm wondering, are they even compliant? And I'm thinking about like fly-by-night operators that come into town. Ron has to deal with them all the time. So does, I'm sure, Chief Wines in some way, shape, fashion, or another. So I think that, and then I think that for you, I don't want to put any overburdensome restrictions on you or any kind of advancement of anything in our community. Less is more for me, always. I don't like overburdensome restrictions. So I think that I'm already in lockstep with you. Scott, make the motion.
I make a motion that we approve this. What's the options?
You have two actions here, item 1 or item 2.
I zoomed out, so now I got to zoom back in.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, before
Yeah.
we have motions and deliberation, if there are other people who want to comment on this as a
Oh, that's a
matter
good
of
point.
public
Do we have any
review.
comment
Thank
cards?
you.
Yes, we do, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, sorry, thank you.
Begin with the cameraman and follow that with Bill Spear.
Okay. Goods and Euros in the queue?
I'll see.
Good evening, Oroville City Council. I'll try and be brief on this. Someone has spoken about this at City Council before. I am, for the record, in favor of food trucks. I like tacos too, and burgers and things of that nature. Like to support small business. But from my understanding, the word vacant means not filled. There's no interest. There's nothing, nothing there. So I get the sense that the food truck is separate and they're their own thing and the lot is their own thing. But if these people are going to congregate here as a hub, maybe on paper in the legal sense, it's still a vacant lot, but in the literal sense, food trucks filling in empty space that's vacant, doesn't seem vacant to me anymore. So I don't know about that. Maybe my definitions are wrong, but that just seems, it doesn't seem like it's going to be vacant anymore if there's going to be a food truck village there. It's, I don't, if the city's ready to approve the plan, it seems, they're satisfied with the fire safety concerns, things of that nature. My concern mainly is, what is the city, approving this business, allowing all these food trucks to engage in business, promote our city? What is going to be done to accommodate that? I mean, this food truck village is right next to the freeway, on-ramp and off-ramp. There's no pedestrian signal over there. You pretty much have to play George from Seinfeld there, Frogger, every day. I do it at least 3 times a week to go to the dollar store after court there. So, I don't think really people are going to walk all the way up to the hill by the fire station to use that pedestrian crossing at Hall of Records just to go get a hot dog or something, especially if, which we're looking at as the majority of foot traffic is going to be county building employees, because if I get 45 minutes for lunch, there's a food truck, right? Okay, I don't have to drive all the way down, like to Boss Burger or something. I'm pretty sure people are still going to go to Boss Burger and other businesses, but, they're going to walk over, and it's, if we're going to have more foot traffic, whether they work for the county or just some guy that got released from jail at 12 o'clock in the afternoon and has a few bucks in his pocket, is hungry, we need to make sure that they're safe, and the road accommodates that. Especially, they did a good job under the bridge there, but we still have some potholes a little bit down the road. But I understand the budget didn't accommodate for that, but you're working on it. Thank you.
And the other one was?
Yes, up next we have Bill Spear.
Mr. Spear, welcome.
I'm in favor of the guy wanting to put the food truck in. I say let him put it in. Why make it harder than it has to be? We used to have a building that we were leasing on Fifth Avenue. The owners were re-roofing it. They didn't roof it off right, and it rained, and all the sheetrock came down. I came down to the city to get a permit to fix the sheet rock, and they're like, nope, you gotta upgrade this, there's all this stuff, and made it impossible. The building's been empty for 3 years. Every time I drive by it, it makes me a little angry that we couldn't have just got a permit. And, time is money, and I'm sure he's probably got a lot more money than we had, but the delay, they've been hearing about it for a long time, as Councilman Thompson was saying. Everywhere you look, there's food trucks, and I'm sure a lot of them don't even have licenses and stuff. And I just think it's ridiculous to make it any harder than it has to. It's a flat lot. There's as safe as anywhere else, probably safer than all the other places. I live on Fifth Street. It would be nice to be able to drive right there, then go all the way downtown to a place that doesn't have adequate parking, doesn't have bathrooms. It's an unlevel lot. It really seems like a no-brainer. I would like to see our city make it as easy as possible on people, and where there's room to be flexible, and to not look for all of the reasons why. I didn't have a good attorney like we have right here, or I would have been up here trying to fight on behalf of our project. But it doesn't have to take so long. It don't have to be so hard. The attorney already said that you guys aren't going to be liable. He's taken the full liability of it. I would hope that it would be unanimous for him, showing the support for businesses coming to Orville, for people that are wanting to do projects. I think it's your job to try to make it as easy and possible. It is America, land of the free. We're a constitutional republic, and I would just encourage you guys to let him get moving on his project. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other cards?
That's all I have, sir.
Councilman Goodson, you're still in the queue.
Yes, I don't want to make a problem where there's no problem. If it's not broke, why try and fix it? But I'm just curious, has there been any challenges that we've had in the past or that are on record in regards to accessibility, or challenges with folks that are disabled?
No, ma'am. Your review of this particular application for conditional land use is contained within the four walls of this particular question. I did wonder, Mr. Hubbard brought up discussions with Mr. Irvin, who's here, about the conditions, and I wonder if the council wants to hear from Mr. Irvin about what the conditions are, and are they ADA conditions, are they something else, are they less or more, and how did they get there? Up to you if you want to do that, but he is here.
Wes, do you have some comments for us?
Yes, we've been looking at am I on?
It doesn't work very well.
It's really.
She turned it off. There you go.
Okay, maybe Mr. Irvin would like to come up to the podium, and that way he's more central, if that's okay. Yeah. And also, Mr. Hubbard can ask him questions too, if that's something he feels he should do.
Oh, no.
You can come over here.
Didn't see that one coming.
Yep.
There we go.
All right. So we have long been discussing this question with Mr. Hubbard, and have had many, many meetings. One of the conditions that we did agree to, that is in the Planning Commission approval letter, is on page 162. It's item number 7 in your packets. And it does provide some relief for the cost of ADA compliance. We worked with our building planners, and it does say, in lieu of an accessible path to every vendor, the applicant can provide the city an operational plan describing how disabled persons will be able to obtain service from each vendor. For instance, a designated runner, handheld menus, et cetera. That would alleviate the problem of the shelf height, et cetera. Now, Mr. Hubbard has pretty much said he'll do what he can, but that's my only comment here.
Thank you.
Just a quick question. Are the requirements strict adherence to the ADA, the ones that you put in your conditions?
No, they're not. They're flexible. We're looking for a design that meets the requirements.
But if you're imposing conditions under the ADA, wouldn't you just have to comply?
Well, that's a lawyer question, so.
I'll take your answer. Given that they're lesser conditions, are these being imposed just basically under the health and safety concerns the city has under the police power then?
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
thank
under the
you.
use permit.
Yeah, so these are lesser conditions, which is my point. You don't have to have an ADA compliance issue here. We're doing this under the
So,
local
Wes, just a
zoning
second,
authority.
let me ask, yeah.
And-
So that, what you just read is actually in the action taken by the planning commission?
Yes.
Okay. Vice Mayor Smith is in the queue.
Yeah, just to follow up some of my comments with, so you've kind of answered my quandary or question. So we're taking this action as an administrative action. We're not necessarily following strict ADA compliance then. So to the comment that that Mr. Hubbard has already made here, so.
It's on its way up because he's
Yeah,
going to say.
so it
how we
sounds to
disagree
me
on
like
certain parts.
we've already made kind of concessions, and so if there was so I'm just processing again the legal aspects of it. So since we already have lowered the bar when it comes to ADA, when the ADA police come to your establishment, and they're coming, then and they point something out and they file a lawsuit, which was very common, a decade or so ago. You don't hear about it quite as much now, but then since the bar's already lowered, you're already open to being challenged, essentially, even if we impose what our staff is asking us to impose upon you. Essentially, so that you can already be challenged even if you were to hit every I and every T crossed here as we're presenting.
Yes.
Am I making sense?
Yes, you are. When I was an ADA lawyer, I remember back in San Diego, for some strange reason, more than any other, we would have to do mandatory settlement conference with every case. And so every case I had to fly down to San Diego and basically mediate with the judge. And I heard so many times, you can't sue me, the building department signed off on it. They said we were compliant. And the judge would just, shake her head. I'm thinking of Judge Magistrate Porter, she's long since retired. She would shake her head and say, that's not how the ADA works. The building department cannot excuse ADA violations. And so I appreciate what Wes did. I mean, Wes has gone above and beyond the call. Okay, his plucky sidekick too. But the liability is still there, and that's why I'm standing here today.
And ADA, that's for everyone. It's federal. It's a federal established law when it comes to
Yes.
those requirements. So, okay, thank you.
Any other cards?
No, Mr. Mayor.
No, we're done.
Thank you. So the action requested, I have two options here now that I've zoomed back in. I've zoomed out so I could see the design of the location there, is to conduct a public hearing to hear the appeal, right? So we couldn't,
Finishing up.
okay, so that's not even an option anymore. So right now, we can approve the appeal, or do we have to have another public hearing?
No, you can close the public hearing, and then you can deliberate.
So right now, we have to close the public hearing and then decide, or can I just make a motion to approve?
You should close the public hearing first. Because you're
That's
going to
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
We have closed the public hearing for another hearing later on in the agenda, which,
Thank you. So I make a
All right, so
motion
closed.
that we approve the appeal.
repeat your motions, I didn't,
I
sorry.
make a motion that we approve his appeal.
Second.
I have I have a question.
Under the
So,
motion.
With that, with the appeal, does that line item, because there are maybe some things in there that are required, just the ADA, just for
Correct.
clarity.
So
Just
what
the
this would
ADA
mean-
requirements.
Granting the appeal would mean that the city could not impose strict ADA requirements under the ADA or building code to this particular project. It does not remove the city's ability to regulate under its land use authority as the land use authority to protect health and welfare aspects of the project. And so probably what would happen is there'd be more discussion about what accommodations are going to go into this project. But it wouldn't be a strict requirement for compliance with the ADA, because you would be deciding that those don't apply to this particular type of venture.
Thank you.
Is that fair to say?
Councilman Weber has a question under the motion.
Mr. Belzer, you have any thoughts on this?
I will just tell you, and this is just me thinking out loud, I agree with a lot that has been said on both sides. But when I was assigned to a narcotics task force, we did a ton of surveillance on food trucks all over California. And you would see someone that would be in a wheelchair or with a walker and watch the employees come out and bring their food, wait on them. I mean, I'm not giving an opinion on what you need to decide on. I'm just saying from life experience, I've seen that all over California.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions?
That's me again, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, that's a good point, because I like that provision is in there. That's an excellent point, but common courtesy and decency from an individual that's on an elevated platform with food in their hand that has been ordered by another individual in a wheelchair. I have actually witnessed that myself with a wheelchair that is outside of a food truck, and guess what they do? They accommodate them. They either come out and take their order, or they, speak loudly through the window or whatever they need to do, and then they deliver it to them. So I think they would automatically just accommodate it,
Any other questions or comments under the motion?
You looking for a second?
We already have a second.
Oh,
Call a
who
roll,
did the
please.
second?
I did.
Oh.
Yeah, she did.
Okay.
Motion passes with 5 yeses, 1 no, and 1 abstention.
Thank you all.
All right, thank you.
I'm going to move a little bit of the agenda around. We're going to hold off the next public hearing. We're going to move back to consent item, and I would
Mayor,
entertain.
can I
Yes,
just
sir.
take 1 minute
Yeah.
break and just chat with Mr. Hubbard, and
Yeah.
we'll continue? Is that okay?
Okay, well, I'm going to go to break here real quick, so I'm
All right,
just
let's do
telling.
that. Go ahead.
Just so that, because we have visitors in the audience and I want to move them to it, so, we're gonna take a 5-minute break. Whoa. And then we're gonna come back here after a 5-minute break, and we're gonna go right to the consent agenda and move on with the presentation. So 5 minutes right now, starting at 6:02. So the next item is going to be the consent agenda. I moved that around for privileges of the chair. So
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
do you mind if I just make one quick announcement?
please, go ahead.
Councilmember Reynolds
Okay.
is not feeling well. He will be absent the rest of the meeting, and I just wanted to announce that for the
We
record.
appreciate that. And we wish him well. So I have the consent agenda as agenda size, and we have already moved item number 2. Do we have any questions from council on the consent agenda? If not, I entertain a motion.
So moved.
Call the roll.
Motion passes 6 yeses and 1 absent.
All right. With the consent agenda done, we have a presentation to make. Mr. Lucas, would you come to the podium? Yes, sir.
Is he retiring? Should be.
Resolution number 9382, City of Oroville recognizing Stephen Lucas upon his retirement from LAFCO. Whereas the City of Oroville wishes to formally recognize and express its gratitude to Stephen Lucas for his exemplary public service, including 30 years of dedication to land use planning, beginning with Butte County in 1995, and cultivating in his leadership as executive officer of Butte LAFCO since 2006. And whereas under Steve's capable leadership, Butte LAFCO became an independent agency in 2008, significantly enhancing its ability to serve local jurisdictions such as the City of Oroville with integrity, efficiency, and autonomy. And whereas Stephen has been a steadfast advocate for thoughtful land use policy and planning, not only locally but statewide. Longstanding involvement with the California Association of Local Agency Formation Commissions, including his service to the executive officer since 2015. And whereas his contributions to Cal LAFCO legislative committee since 2000 and as the vice chair in 2014-2015 have directly influenced policies that benefit local. Yes, Stephen has demonstrated a strong commitment to professional development in the planning community, serving as the university catalyst, moderator, and program developer, as well as an active participant in numerous conferences and training sessions. And whereas his vision and leadership have resulted in long-term policy improvements, efficiencies that have positively impacted local governments, including service has been recognized by his peers through multiple Cal LAFCO awards, including the Outstanding Professional Award in 2016, the Project Award 2010, and the Effective Communications or Commission Awards 2015 and 2019. And whereas the City of Oroville acknowledges and celebrates Stephen's retirement with appreciation, his collaborative spirit and legacy of excellence he leaves behind. Now, involved by the Oroville City Council that just approved this. Oroville hereby honors and extends a sincere appreciation to Stephen Lucas. Happiness and fulfillment in retirement. Passed and adopted this 3rd day of June 2025 by the Oroville City Council. Welcome.
Excellent. Excellent.
Stephen, would you like to say anything?
Yeah, Terry, too.
Oh, yeah, she's coming up next.
I go?
Yeah, you go.
I can't say enough in appreciation for this. I know most of you probably haven't worked with me, and I've been around a long time, and I think Dave was driving a fire truck when I started. So it's appropriate that you gave this to me tonight, since I've probably known you the longest of
I
anyone
think we
here.
did the first MSR, as I remember.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
And on that note, I just want to say to the council and to the community that I'm really proud of the city of Oroville. We started this process of reviewing the city 20 years ago, and some of those things weren't so great then, but the progress the city has made over this last 15, 20 years, especially the last 5 or so years, has been remarkable. And I think one of the things I'm most proud of is the South Side annexation, something that unified the community along with 7 other islands that your staff and I worked on. So really looking forward to the city continually growing and serving all its citizens and doing what it does best, and that is serving the people. So I super appreciate this, and I guess I also have to say thanks to one of my bosses. And thank to all of you for showing up.
Now, Terry, come on up. Got another award too.
Uh-oh. These guys are very sneaky.
I know.
My speech will not be as lengthy
Thank you.
as, yeah. You're welcome. But I am here tonight on behalf of Congressman LaMalfa to present you with a certificate of congressional recognition.
Wow.
And thank you for your service of 32 years of dedication to the county of Butte and the growth, and just congratulations on your retirement, and enjoy it, and don't go back to work.
Yes, ma'am. Got that in? Thank you so
Congratulations
much.
to you.
And thanks for Congressman.
I'll get hold of you. Oh.
There you go.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank
you
you.
all.
Thank you so much.
And thank you all for waiting the time. We've
Yes.
moved along. Okay. Consent agenda calendar done. Now we move to regular items. Regular business. Next one up would be number 6, authorization, right?
Mm-hmm. That's the
Yes, right. 2 has been pulled and it's actually going to be number 9. Yeah, yep. Yep. So authorization to add live feed flock cameras to the existing camera network. I believe the police chief is on this, huh?
All over this.
All over it. All right.
As we've discussed in previous meetings and just offline meetings with citizens and the city council, we've had a lot of damage occurring up on the levee and a lot of crime in areas that we just can't reach with law enforcement. We're just too low staffing. So this is a proposal to increase 13 cameras that will be fixed mounted to locations, and in addition to 1 mobile flock camera that will go up at Hewitt Park to assist in the security and surveillance of that while it's being built. This is the initial phase-in. I'd like to increase the cameras as we go. Just looking at the dollar amount. For this initial phase-in, we have an existing Raven system, which is a shot detection system that, while it does serve its purpose, it's not serving in the best interest of the city, so we're looking at reducing that number and offsetting the cost with these cameras. And if you have any questions, this is tying into the existing flock system, so it's an infrastructure already in place, and this would be for a 2-year contract.
Is this amending the existing contract we have now, or is this a new one?
This is a new contract and separate. It'll actually be 2 separate contracts, one for the mobile trailer and then additional one for the fixed mount cameras.
Any questions from staff? I see Councilman Thompson, it's not from staff, but Councilman Thompson's up.
Thank you. I've just heard nothing but positive from our law enforcement of the success of these cameras in town, and I know that with Measure U dollars, one of the main things that our citizens want is safety, and so I'm fully in favor of increasing this number. So thank you for bringing this forward, and I'm fully in favor of it.
One thing I do want to add is this is continued to be a lease, which means it's an ongoing cost. One of the aspects I'm looking at is doing a purchase down the road so that we buy it and we own it, and see if we can reduce the annual cost down to maybe just a maintenance plan so that we don't have ongoing costs over the years, because I am aware of that number creeping up.
Do we have any cards on this item?
We do have one, Mr. Mayor. We have one from the cameraman.
Cameraman, come on up.
Good evening again, Oroville City Council. Shouldn't be too long on this item. Just wanted to touch on the flock cameras. Some people disagree with them. Some people like them. As a person that uses a camera, many types of cameras. You know, if you want privacy at the end of the day, go in your house, shut your blinds, and most importantly, don't commit any crimes, because that's what mainly these cameras are supposed to be for. But some people in other cities and states feel that it's just Orwellian surveillance. But I would just like to note on the placement of the flock cams, just more strategic placement. It seems like what this item is geared to, because it seems they're needed on the levee. Just that seems kind of redundant. To go drive down Gillick Way, which is the road to the jail, and there's a flock camera right there. It's, you know, okay, but it's, if you really want to get people, put one here at the end of County Center Drive, put one here at the end of County Center Drive. So anybody that's going to go down County Center Drive is going to get flocked. I mean, if you go to the jail with a stolen car, that's a pretty stupid move. All the more reason, they don't make them smart. But it's, it just seems rather a redundant placement, not as useful as it could be. And then also just to keep in the mind of the way that they could come across. Now, what I mean by that is if you go out to 18th Street in Larkin, which is kind of out there in the boonies by the airport, it's like somebody went out there with the measurement to make sure that they're still within the city, the little boundaries that we own along that road. There's a flock camera out there. And I just look at that and it's like, well, isn't this checkpoint Charlie right on the boundary line? So, I mean, hey, that also says, hey, if you're going to come, don't come to Oroville if you have a stolen vehicle, but also says, hey, we're going to check you every time you drive in and out of the city boundaries. So just visual, placement, keep in mind the thoughts and just, more, non-wasteful placement. So thank you.
Councilman Weber's in the queue. Did you have a question for him?
Yeah, I had an observation, and to the cameraman talking about what you make some valid points, but also they're strategically located, obviously, to catch people leaving and going, right? So, and I know when we approved this this system, I don't know, I think it's going on 2 years ago, maybe. There was a lot of questions about Big Brother and watching and. One of the things that was a selling point for me is like, what if there's one child abduction that's happened in Bakersfield and that car rolls into Orville, and we could get that, then that's that one, even in the slim chance that it would happen, be worth it. But also, I know that Chief Wines could probably testify to like how many hits we've had on stolen vehicles or how many shootings have been solved because we've caught I know there was a shooting right across the street from my house, literally. And by they responded to the house, okay? They knew because there's not a flock camera by my house. There's a flock listening device right on the corner. But it pinpointed that gunshot to the address of the house that it actually happened at, okay? And my wife watched the shooting in real time because the argument was happening. She was looking out the front window, watched the shooting, and within seconds we could hear the cops coming. Far before I called the cops, which I did call the cops, but they were already on their way. And then when the officers got there, I'm like, hey, how accurate was that? He literally turned his phone around and was like, that address. And it was that address. So, those kind of things are really important for us. So this is an excellent tool for preventative tool and to capture the individuals. So I fully support this as well, completely. I'm not a huge fan of having tons of surveillance, but the fact is we live in a society that requires it today, because there are so many people doing crazy stuff, right? But the flock camera isn't just also, to the comment you made, it's not just looking at everything, it's only specifically looking at a license plate to see or record data in the case of catching a bad guy that did something bad, because they could say, oh, well, that car description drove through that intersection at this time, and then they could ping it, right? And then I don't even know. I don't want to ask you to reveal how many hits you've had in that fashion, but I know it's been a significant amount.
We'd be in the thousands.
Yeah.
Since the system.
I know that one shooting that happened in Southside, and that it was solved largely in part to knowing that the car drove through an intersection, right? So it's an unbelievable tool. It really is.
Okay, do we have any other cards on this item?
No, we do not, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
Motion.
Any questions from council? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the agreement with Flock Safety for 13 cameras and 1 mobile camera unit. And, got a second?
Do we hear a second?
Yep.
Yes, Weber,
Call the roll, please.
Councilman Weber.
Motion passes 6 yeses and 1 absent.
Very well, thank you. Thanks, Chief. Now, next item, number 7, Police Department renting of office spaces.
I always feel so needy. So this is, again, this is something that's been talked about for a while. This is a temporary fix. When the remodel happened a few years ago, there was some conversions, and at this point, we're out of office space, even for our existing command staff and officers. So we are still looking at about 8 officers short, and we have no place to put anybody. Our squad room is overrun. The sergeants are double stacked on desks.
together, yeah.
We're double stacked in offices elsewhere for records. And so this is a, hoping to be a more temporary than permanent solution of getting in a rental space. We can put the investigations in to where we have a proper interview room, what's called a soft room for our child interviews. Now that we have Investigator Barker on board, that enhances our ability to do that. And also an area for the patrol officers to come in if they need help writing search warrants. They can go right in there. And the goal is to kind of spread the traffic of the patrol officers' investigation throughout the city. So instead of clustered downtown, we can now stretch it over. This would be kind of on the South Feather area out there.
Councilman Goodson.
Would this be additional space or for our juvenile detainers as opposed to being detained in the back of the police car?
That could definitely be a consideration. There is room for, we have room to grow and move.
Okay.
So we can discuss that as to what is best for the
idea.
community.
Thank you.
Any other questions from council? I personally, knowing the building we're in, it was moved into in March of '82, and we have been busting the city loose. That was when we had 12,000 people in the community, so we're now over 20, and the needs for space is obvious. And there's, what we remodeled the old building it's an old building and it needs floor space. So I think this is a great idea for now to not hold back the efficiency of our department. And I kind of like the idea of having a different location for officers to go and come and simply be on patrol and stop by and variety of things. So I think it's a great idea. Any other questions? I'd entertain a motion.
I move that we authorize the rental of 50 Feather
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Motion passes 6 yeses, 1 absent.
You know, we just can't get away from the police chief. Number 8, contract for investigative services with Butte County District Attorney's Office in the amount not to exceed $300,000 annually.
So I guess we could say a bright note, last year was 400,000.
Oh, okay.
So I was hoping to actually not do this year, but in talking with my staff, we still have a significant backlog of cases. The PD had been running one investigator for many years, and when Mary came on board, we were well over 300 cases backlogged. So she's been able to eliminate quite a few, but we felt it was not in the best interest of the city to eliminate this contract. The DA's office has been a fantastic partnership. They're fully equipped to swoop in and give us an assistance until we can continue to remove the backlog and create a proper system so that we are independent and we're back on our own feet. I would anticipate that this is the last year we're going to do this. Based on the quality of people that have coming in, we'll be fully capable of taking this over next year.
We have any cards on this item?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we do have one from the cameraman.
This will be my last comment, and I'll shut up. Well, to the chief there, that kind of answer, I'll take away some of my words. I'm glad, hope that's mainly the goal. I would like to see fully independence, the better we are from, as some people refer to him as the Godfather, who can cut one string from the puppet master's control. That's always a good thing. Because, quality of service. I ain't going to deny the DA has lots of resources. It's just that what they choose to use them on, I'm quite particular about. I'm sure you all aware. So basically, well, yeah, since we're going to move basically forward to his independence, I hope this is the last year that we are going to need their assistance in this regard. So I'll save my comments that I had. Just further reiterate, yeah, we're still dealing with a backlog either way. If you watch the interview with Action News Now that Mr. Ramsey did, he pretty much straight up admitted, yeah, if somebody did one thing one time, it's going to get backlogged. So unless they start repeating the same act and, being a prevalent problem, we'll get to you eventually. And I know it's not child abuse, but, auto theft. Butte County Sheriff doesn't have an auto theft task force. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure the Oroville Police Department, to my knowledge, still doesn't have that, as much as I'm sure that's something they would like to get. And it's pretty much CHP. And they're taking these cases pretty much, we're taking our the helmet they wear from CHIPS, we're just swirling around and okay, this is the 10851 report of the day, and we'll take it. So, the more we can be independent from the state and county resources, the better. So I will leave you with that and have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Councilman Goodson's in the queue.
I know when we came out of COVID, there were over 400 cases that were backlogged. But I did you mention how many cases were backlogged on the child abuse?
I don't believe I had that direct number from where we were. I think we're in the high 100s now.
Okay.
So Mary's just almost cut it in half.
Yes, good job. Thank you.
Any other comments, questions, motions?
Oh, definitely.
I'll make a motion. Oroville City Council investigative services from the Butte County District Attorney's Office for specific types of child abuse cases.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Motion passes, 6 yeses, 1 absent.
Okay.
3 for 3.
Next item, was 2, it is now number 9 in regular business. And that item is titled, Consider and Adopt Benefit Resolution Number for Unrepresented Employees to include the Chief of Police, Directors, Assistant Directors, and the Deputy City Clerk, and update several master salary schedules for CalPERS requirement.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this is an agendized item for the regular agenda from the request of CalPERS. CalPERS has requirements for publicly posted salary tables, and took a look at some of ours. And on a per classification basis, we didn't have starting and end dates on some of them. So those are going to be republished. And then also to qualify the benefits as pensionable compensation, we have to have, for the unrepresented classifications that aren't covered by an MOU, a resolution covering those. So we're using this resolution to make sure that we're going back and complying so that the pensionable compensation is, as it should be for those unrepresented classifications going back. So this is, really flows from a requirement for, from CalPERS to document correctly what's pensionable and what's not for non-MOU employees, and to make sure that our salary tables have all of the required information on a per classification basis.
Thank you. Any cards on this item?
None submitted, Mr. Mayor.
Council questions? Council will entertain a motion.
I will make a motion to approve the attached benefits resolution number 9383 and master salary schedules required by CalPERS.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Motion passes, 6 yeses, 1 absent.
Thank you, Council.
Okay, thank you. Now we're going to jump back to something we did not do at the beginning here with the reports and discussions from either council or department head staff reports. Any councilmen have any announcements, or I do actually have one. I'm going to speak real quick after Vice Mayor Smith. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Update on the 4th of July fireworks. If you've noticed, it's been somewhat quiet. Last year, as many of you would remember, July 2nd, a fire broke out, commonly known as the Thompson Fire. Because of that incident, we weren't able to have our firework show, and/or folks weren't able to utilize their, of course, safe and sane fireworks as well. And of course, as a community, we braved that incident and pressed on to the other side. This year, we planned to, again, have it out at the Forebay and Nelson Park, as we were going to do last year. However, as of late, there has been another emergency out at the Forebay, where they're using that space for inspections of boats.
The mussels.
And then a significant amount of real estate has been absorbed in that operation. And so it was asked by State Parks that we consider seeking another alternate location that would alleviate them. I mean, there's the staffing and just management of that program. And by the way, they have found 2 boats thus far with the mussels. So, I mean, that's bad news, but good news. In other words, we're not wasting our time. If the golden mussel was to find its way into our waterway here, it could foul the fish hatchery, which our hatchery is the highest producing hatchery on the West Coast when it comes to the Chinook salmon. So it's an extremely important asset. And then arguably, the Feather River and right here in Oroville, we are the last for the spring run Chinook salmon. If it's lost here, it's lost, apparently, what I've been told by the scientists globally. So our resource here, our hatchery, is extremely important. So to help assist in that program, we began to look for an alternate site. We were looking at the airport. However, as many of you might know, FAA has had a rough year. And so when we looked at the airport, there's new layered conditions. So, and there was no way we're going to meet the timeline to get approval for a fireworks show back at the airport as we've done for the last several years. And the mayor suggested to Brian Ring the golf course. And so I met with the golf course manager, Bob, out there, along with Chris Tins, Fire Chief Tins, and I think we can get her done. Isn't that right?
Cool.
So here in the next day or so, we're going to be rolling out plans and informing the public. But it's about 2,000 feet from where we shot them off from the airport in the previous years. So all your viewing locations probably will work for you because it's basically in the same place. We just don't need the blessing of the FAA because it's coming from the golf course versus the airport. So anyway, stand by for more information. We're also going to be seeking a little help, in the way of fundraising for the event because we are a little short for this year because of the increased cost. From last year, we did have carryover, but there was some impacts from the cancellation of the event and also additional costs for this year. But that's to be determined. We'll let the public know where we kind of sit. It's not nearly as big of a lift for this year. But so the bottom line is we're going to have a 4th of July fireworks celebration.
That's cool.
Hallelujah.
Very good. Golf and fireworks at the same night. Well, that'll be fun. A couple items I want to add for California Water Service. One of them, as you know, we've asked the fluoride to be turned off with the California water system. And that started almost 10 months ago. We are now down to the Public Utilities Commission, and dealing with them has been...
Nightmare.
Yes, that's probably the best word I could add to that. So consequently, we got an email the other day, and they have scheduled a meeting on September 23rd here in this city council chambers to have a PUC hearing on this topic of fluoride. They set it up and didn't really call us, but they're coming. Consequently, California Water Service has to notify all the customers, both in their bill and a separate ad, so that's another thing that has to be done. And there'll be public outreach to let people know. We'll have a PUC hearing here in this body at 2 PM that afternoon. That's just one topic. The second topic is California Water Service will be beginning the replacement of the water main on Washington Avenue. If you remember last year around fireworks time, we had the blowout at Mitchell and Washington. Well, they discovered the water main is only inches deep underneath the asphalt, so they're going to have to replace that entire water main, probably the length of Washington, and they'll be starting that project very, very soon. And so consequently, keep an eye out for your travels around town, because that is our north-south corridor. And it's nice that the water utility is going to get the work done before we ever do any major road work there. So that's coming out. It was announced yesterday. And just to be aware, they'll also be doing new service connections to all the homes along that area. So just a couple of things to keep an eye on. That's all I had. Councilman Weber?
Yes. Airport, I wonder if we could then open the airport a little bit to help people ease of parking when they're out there viewing instead of being right on the highway. I don't know if that's something we could do. I don't know, legally if we could do that or whatever. But
Be an insurance, no, Chris, chief is saying no.
Yeah. There's a distance requirement for fireworks, and I don't know what the numbers are, but just to help answer that question, there is a distance requirement for the permit and shooting.
I think we could find a very specific location, but it's also a secure facility, so we probably involve code and conversation.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Off
All right,
grid.
that was just a thought. And then earlier when we were having our conversation, when Kevin and his team were up at the podium and they were talking, I would like to, I don't know if we ever got consensus from the council to actually entertain that, okay. All right, I just wanted to circle back on that because I'm interested in them.
Bring it back
coming.
as a future item.
Okay, great.
Okay, yep.
Awesome. Okay.
So let's go to department head reports, and I'm going to look at Mr. Belser. We got a nice printed report that was pretty substantial for the year.
Good
33
package.
camps?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This month, yeah.
Busy alone,
In
busy.
May, I'm sorry.
In May, yeah, very busy.
It's very busy.
Yeah.
It doesn't change. It's a shell game.
Could you please repeat that loud for those that are in TV land? How many encampments?
Roughly 33.
33.
Sometimes it's more. I mean, when we say 33, we have one location that might have 4 or 5,
Oh, yeah.
that they're sharing camp space, So, I mean, we keep the numbers realistic. Don't try to exaggerate. It's a ongoing battle. We get a lot of support from, the police department and the MLEs especially. They're very good about making sure that we're safe. And, I have 2 individuals, 2 employees, that's all they do now, So I take, their 80 hours in a week, and that's all they do is go out and abate camps with our
Yes.
City Works and Clean Streets team,
Wow.
and Public Works at times, and obviously the police department at times. So, yeah, it's a, it's a struggle,
Councilman Johnston has a question.
Yes, thank you. Just real quick. Oh, thank you. When you abate a camp, how quickly is the turnaround when they come back?
It really just depends. If it's in a public space or private space. We have, there's some development that's going on in the city, which is really, really nice. Out there on 7th Avenue where they leveled out east of the cemetery. It's that cleared out, we were there, every other day. Now all that vegetation and stuff is gone, and there's a business that's obviously going to be built there. And, development in those areas really, really helps.
Right.
I mean, you just, have to limit where they can hide.
Right.
Thank you.
It's a good way to put it.
I'm going to look at Patrick. You got something to tell us about?
I do. I have several things this week. At the next meeting, we're going to bring an annexation plan that Wes Irvin's been working on. We're excited about that. We have several areas that we want to present to the council as potential areas for annexation. And I've been working with the development group that's here tonight for a couple of weeks now, and really excited about all the things that they have going on. They have several parcels that they've already purchased, some in the city and some in the county. And then the ones that are in the county are actually in the areas that we've been looking at as part of our annexation plan. So we are really excited about that. At the next meeting, they're going to be coming with a presentation more formal than what they did tonight. And they're going to be talking about the housing that they're going to bring, and then also some creative ways of doing financing that will help them and it'll help the homeowners, and it'll get us the market rate housing that we've been going after for quite some time. I've also been talking with them about doing some sort of alternative development concepts that they're really open to working with, and so I'm really excited to talk with them about that as well. There's a lot of things that seem to be really coming together, and it all seems to be sort of centered around this group. So I'm really looking forward to working with these guys to see what kind of great things they're going to do for the community. And I think one of the council members, I'm sorry which one, who it was, but asked what are they going to do for businesses or to bring in.
That was me.
We don't need that. We have the need for so much housing, and I have right now the businesses I'm working with plus the hospital. We have the need for about 2,000 units. So there is, and then it's really about 1,200 to 1,400 units that we need. But when you look at the collateral that comes for all the people that will need to provide the services for those people that are coming, and we're looking at probably like 2,000 units. And so I've been explaining them to them, and they are up for the challenge, and they're looking forward to moving into that space. And so I'm really excited with what they've got going on, and looking forward to their presentation at the next meeting. We've been doing a lot of things to remove some barriers for development, and one of the things that we're looking at is the wetland issue. And I think that they are fortunate enough that the land that they've been looking at does not have wetland problems or vernal pool problems. But we engaged with a company to come out and do some surveys on some land that we own around the airport, and they've identified 45 acres that may be suitable for creating vernal pools. So we have a concept that we're working on. We're not ready to flesh it out to council. It's not fleshed out, not ready for prime time, not ready to come to council, but it is something that we're working on, and we think that we may have some solution that the city can provide that we can pass on to developers. And there's a developer that we feel like might be interested in doing this with us. So we're exploring that a little bit further. We may be coming to council in another few meetings to talk about whether or not the council would like to pay for a more formal process of creating these vernal pools. So with all the land to the west that we would be annexing, it'd be very difficult to find developers that can pencil out a project if we can't get some of these things solved. So staff has been looking at ways to solve those problems. So, and looking forward, there's a lot of fun things coming up. I'm looking forward to bringing that back to the council.
Thank you. Councilman Weber's on the queue.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to reiterate that I actually thank you for the comment about the housing and thank you for your comment as well, because I think that, but it's not a this or that, it's a both thing, right? So if we fill the needs of all those houses, guess what that does? Houses bring people with dollars.
More will come.
Dollars bring retail, and retail and housing and tax and all those things bring economy. So, I couldn't agree more with that. And again, hats off to you guys for coming in here. Thank you for targeting Orville. Thank you for choosing to come and take those investment dollars and the expertise and the strategies that you guys have built all over the place and bring them here and saying this is the next place to do this. We are, again, I'm very excited because all of these conversations have been in the works for a couple of years now, a long time now, really. And then they even prior to that, they've been going, and then now they're really just starting to really take off. And it's like, okay, finally, we're gonna see it. Finally, we're gonna see that what I believe is gonna be a tipping point, this moment of growth, this moment of prosperity for Orville. We've all of us that have lived here for a long time, we watched Lincoln and Loomis and Roseville and Rockland and even Plumas Lake, which you guys had a hand in that too. Plumas Lake explode, and then it's like, okay, when's our time? When is our time gonna be? And I believe that this is our time right now. So, thank you guys.
Councilman Goodson's in the queue before any question.
So, you know, we've talked about annexation as Councilman Thompson had mentioned. We've been on this council at least 9 years, right? And so one of the barriers with annexation is, do we have the capability to sustain those new developments with the appropriate CAL FIRE, the appropriate police? And so when you talk about that area, that's really going to be the determining factor. And I was watching your body language, so I hear you and I get it.
Okay.
Can I make a comment?
Oh, sure, go ahead.
Just to kind of
Yeah. A little out of order, but we'll lead you.
But Councilwoman Goodson, I just wanted to reiterate, just based on our developments and what we've done with this before, when we build these houses, it brings those tax dollars that go directly to the police department, goes directly to fire. And so you're able to build those facilities, you're able to purchase those resources in order to serve the community better. And so as we build these houses, all of your services will get stronger and better and more apt for the community.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Can you speak to that?
Well,
Because we're looking like.
I know, I think let's
Okay,
bring
okay.
that back, because I know Patrick's
We
gonna
can
be.
talk off the grid on that.
Yeah, Patrick's gonna be bringing back a project that will have a full agenda to go through, so I want to finish department head reports. Alyssa,
Are you hungry?
our public works person.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. I do have a few updates. We had our new museum curator start, so she's about 2 weeks in and is just hitting the ground running. Feeling a little overwhelmed,
right.
but really, I can tell she wants to help make our museums a place for people to visit. And we're running into some challenges. Obviously, those museums are old, and we need to rehabilitate some of them. So she's trying to make sure everything is run safely, legally, and ethically sound. So really looking at the policies and things like that with the docents, and I just really appreciate her and what she's doing. That said, the Antique Museum and the Feather River Nature Center are both closed for maintenance, and they will be probably for a little while, but more to come on that. So I was out at Hewitt Park today also, and that project is rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
They are,
Cool.
yeah, it's looking really good, and a lot of progress is being made. So it's on schedule. We're not behind schedule, which is great. So I'm really looking forward to that project. There will be a time coming up here pretty soon. It's not going to look like there's a lot of work happening out there, but it's all underground. So it's going to be work. It's not going to look like a lot of work. As far as paving goes, we've gotten, there was some pavement that had to actually be demoed at Bedrock Park. So at Bedrock Park, we've put in a new irrigation line that's been not working, I guess, for a while now. Our folks did it in-house. They're also doing all the repaving and the concrete work to repair all where their trench line went in-house, and that's all been completed at this point. So there's also been about 3,000 square feet placed on 18th Street recently. And then a couple of concrete sidewalk repairs occurring. One was at Flying Cloud and the other one was on First Avenue. So a lot of time was spent last month of just preparing for Feather Fiesta Days, a lot of cleanup and prep. Worked with Central School to install new crosswalks. So El Noble and Florence have a couple of new crosswalks. We would like to eventually add a crosswalk across Mesa, but we need to add some accessible curb ramps before we do that. So at least one. All the fire breaks have been graded. You'll start seeing goats. So goats are starting in a week. And I know our guys also were assisting code enforcement with a few of the cleanups that they had. There will be those new solar lights. It's kind of a trial to see how this goes. Will be going up tomorrow at Nelson and Second near the county building. There'll be 5 new poles going in, and it's going to be interesting because they look different than a normal street light. They're solar powered, so they have the panel on top. So we'll see what kind of feedback we get from that. And Myers resurfacing, so you'll have to go back to when we did Montgomery resurfacing in Myers at about the same time. We postponed a component of that work because we knew PG&E was going to get in there and tear up Myers a little bit. Their project was delayed. We thought it was going to be done about mid-May, so we had scheduled PCC, Pavement Coatings Company, to come back out and do the resurfacing starting May 26th, but that has been pushed. So now we're hoping the week of the 16th of June. So that'll depend on if PG&E can still finish the work that they're doing, but I think that they can. And then we recently had a meeting regarding the alleyway initiative, the alleyway naming initiative. So there's been a couple of alleyways identified. So we'll continue to look at those and work with planning on potential naming conventions. And that's the update I've got.
Thank you.
Unless you have questions.
2 quick items I have. One is that it always takes a lot of coordination between all the utility companies to get the roads done before we pave, because the worst thing happens is we repave and then somebody digs it up. So I appreciate the fact that there's so much work being done with the water company, the sewer repairs, and of course PG&E right now. They're doing a lot of work here on gas main, checking certification. The other question I had is, we had started a video for the Chinese temple that I believe Chico State was going to do.
Yeah.
Did we ever get that completed?
I will follow up.
Yeah.
I do not know.
I just had a recall memory of that, and it kind of got lost because we had Heather was here and she started it, and then we had the
Okay.
other replacement. So it'd be nice to see if we ever got that finished, or if it's in process maybe.
Okay.
Councilman Weber.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm super pleased to hear about the Upper Myers, but I did note, have you guys been sending people out there to make sure that the compaction ratio is good on those cuts they made? Because I noted that they're not sinking in there. Because that's obviously a huge issue every time they do those cuts, and it's like, it looks pretty good, like they've been compacted. So that, I think it's gonna hold up well once we do the micro sealing up there. So have you guys been sending people up there to make sure they were?
We've been trying to work very closely with PG&E to ensure that the trenches are repaired, but a lot of that has to do also with the subcontractors that are hired for the final pavement repairs, and I'm not sure who it was at that one, but it might have been Fairbanks in town, and so I think he just did a real good job.
Yeah, no, they're far superior to some of the stuff we've seen on Feather River Boulevard when they were working down by the Maverick. Remember that? I mean, that was just like overnight. So I was happy with that. To your point, Mr. Mayor, about digging it up, I'm glad that we didn't have the ability to fix Washington yet. Because if they got to dig the whole thing up, because we're looking for funding, so this is perfect timing. And then also, last comment for you is excellent job on Bedrock Park. It's green. Lower Bedrock is green, and it's going to stay green. So that's a fantastic. I was so happy because that's just one step in the recovery and restoration of that, what should be a marquee park in our community, part of that whole trail system, and then Hewitt Park is I'm just thrilled with that. And then Ron and Chief Wines, I didn't tell you guys but I'm super pleased with your guys' cart retrieval you guys have been doing. It's very evident some of the more problem children are being, and I know you guys got problem children big time. I will tell you this, that as we're working toward whatever that cart retrieval program looks like, whatever the final product is, I have been reached out to by several of the retailers that are very interested in participating. They will come and identify the cart, retrieve the cart, so they're very interested. So just so you know, okay? But thank you guys so much.
Well, and thank you, and I'll relay what you're saying to the staff, because they're really the ones doing the work, so thank you.
I'm so thrilled.
Anyone else on that side? Chief, you have anything else to add? That means how you took up so many items tonight?
It's not all about you.
Just an update on the previous council items, you approved an additional dispatch position. So we have 2 vacancies right now. We have 15 applicants
Oh,
for
wow.
those.
Cool.
And on the records position that you authorized, we had 28 applications. And we had interviews today. So we should be wrapping up and filling those spots shortly.
Excellent. Good to hear. Thank you.
Turn your mic
I'm looking at this side of the room. Amy?
I have no official update, but I've been getting a lot of green lights from the state. They just won't give me official award letter. But I'm told that they don't see anything that would hold it up, and that we can request to incur costs before, but we would assume the risk. So that makes me feel like if they're asking us to request it, then maybe, but no official award letter yet. Also, you should be seeing construction starting at Lincoln Street Senior Apartments any day
Very
now.
soon. And she has a big announcement. We just have to wait for them to say it. So if I want to make it seem like we're waiting on something, we are waiting on something. Councilman Weber?
Yeah, just real quick, when you mentioned we had a certain amount of dollars in our first-time homebuyer program, do you know what those dollars are off the top of your head?
Oh, goodness. We have 1.5 million in CDBG funds, and we also have over $1 million. We have $1 million in home funds that we can't use yet because the state is still trying to get their findings in order from HUD. But also we have $1 million in home PI funds that we'll be able to use too. So those will be later on this year that will be available. So we have quite a few.
Thank you.
Ruth, anything for finance before we start your item?
Yeah, so I too have a presentation on the 17th that I've been working on since January. I mentioned to you that we were going to be doing a 5-year forecast with this year's budget, and really concerned about our fiscal sustainability. So our consultants are going to be presenting to you on the 17th a fiscal sustainability discussion. And I think that's going to be really, really helpful to see what our future looks like. And also, you know, somebody asked me, well, okay, you're going to identify the problem and talk about the problem, but what is going to be the solution? I said, we can't do that in the same night. Let's have a solution or strategy maybe in a month or two after that. So this is just going to be a fiscal sustainability discussion on what it looks like, because we had some real challenges in this budget year. So just want to let you know we're having that on the 17th.
Okay, cool. Very good. Anybody else? Oh, Councilman Goodson.
I said, turn off your So did I just hear you say we need to proceed with caution and be fiscally conservative because,
Yeah, in the
pump the
budget.
brakes.
Yeah, we'll talk about the budget.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
Anybody else looking around the room? There's one item I should mention. The executive committee met last week, Wednesday, and we had 2 items. The biggest item was the volunteer committee that's been working on the code with Patrick, gave us a very good long presentation, and they have really focused on the ability of helping the entrepreneur, the small businessman, weed through the process of code enforcement, and made some strong suggestions on changes. I believe Patrick will probably bring those changes back to the council in the near future. But it was many hours that they've all spent time on, and I know your staff has worked with them immensely. So it was a very good effort, and it was a reach out from a body of business people that wanted to help us make a code more accessible and more
User-friendly.
user-friendly, I guess is the term. Is that the best description?
Yes, and thank you for bringing that up. I should have mentioned that in my report out earlier. They did make some recommendations, and a lot of it is changing. It's kind of zone changes. It's use permits. So
Right.
So there'll be a whole thing. It has to go to Planning Commission first, and then it'll come back to council. So it's good. It'll be a little bit before it comes back here, but I think that everything that they put together looks like it'll be helpful.
Doable,
Yep.
doable, I think is a good
Yep.
word. Yeah, appreciate that. It was, I mean, I gotta applaud those volunteer efforts, it's huge. And it really, when you change the use permit designation, it changes also the cost of get the use permit, and that's what they were
Right.
helping with, so.
That's right.
That was a big factor. The other thing we met on was the Firewise. It was the first meeting for Firewise to have the city become a Firewise community. Is that the right term? Community.
Yeah.
And we moved that forward, and that will come back to us here soon after the staff gets together and puts it all planed out. So those two things just to report to council. Next item.
Adjournment.
No. That's being hopeful. No. We're actually gonna have to open a public meeting, it's gonna be 7:05. I'll open this public meeting for the preliminary, where's it at? Oh, I'm sorry, okay. Public hearing on the 25-26 preliminary budget. Ruth, it's all yours.
Awesome. I promise not to keep you here all night or make you go mind numb like we're talking about. Just want to say, when I start off talking about the budget, that I just want to say appreciation to my colleagues and the people that helped put their input, help do their own budgets. And I don't know if you heard, and I'm hearing all this stuff when Chief Wines said the flock cameras, and he said, and this is going to be offset by this. This is what we have to hear from now going forward. Where's the funding going to come for what we want to do? What are we going to? And I saw that so much when preparing the budget, and especially the personnel meeting that we had. It was so awesome because at the end, there wasn't like a ton of asks for all these positions. It was more like, well, I'll give up this one and then I'll have this one. It was a one for one. It was just a lot of reorganizing, but it wasn't a lot of additions to the budget. So it was, in that sense, it was very nice that we had just a lot of cooperation, and it was just smooth working with all the department heads and Brian. And so I made this little presentation for you. It's called Budget Highlights, but it really should say Budget Challenges. We had some really big challenges this year. I think the last 2 years that we went through our budget, I mentioned it was very difficult to budget the general fund the last 2 years. The district tax fund was another story, but the general fund just kept squeezing higher and higher on the expenses, and our revenues have been flat. Well, now we're seeing negative revenues, and our number one source is sales tax. And so it's getting even more challenging than it has been in the last couple of years. So revenues are not increasing as fast as our expenditures are, and that's in all areas, salaries and everything. But I just highlighted 3 major challenges so that we're not here all night. Anyway, next slide. Oops. So I have 3 major challenges. The first challenge is the decline in sales tax, our number one revenue source, and the end of our hazard mitigation grant that covered several positions in the city. And then a major change in expenditures was the fire contract. As you saw 2 amendments go through last year, it had a major effect on our budget this year. And, in all fairness, we knew that would be a cost to the city. Had we still had our fire department, it still would have been a cost to us to add those positions with the legislative stuff that came down. So anyway, these are just the main 3 things that I'm presenting to you that were the major challenges, major highlights. So our sales tax, our regular sales tax, and I don't have a 10% decline in here, but that's over 3 years. That's not in the current year. I'm sorry if that's small, but last year we saw a 5.2% decline in our regular sales tax. This year we're looking at a 2% decline, and next year they are anticipating a 3% decline. So over 3 years, that's going to be a 10% decline. That's a cost of about $1.3 million in this fiscal year alone. And if you look at the projection going out, the year after that, it's going to increase, but 1.3%, 2%, 1.7%. It's going to take us years to get back up that 10% that we've lost in these 3 years. It's going to be a while before we're even back to where we were. So that's kind of disappointing or concerning, very concerning. And in the district sales tax, same thing, only a little more. In the previous fiscal year, we lost 7.5% a decline in sales tax. This current year, we're looking at 2.4%. And next year, the projection, the budget that year that we're working on, they're projecting a negative 2.8%. And again, after that, it's an increase of 1.6, 2.2. It's going to take us years to recover these losses. So all in, it's over 22% decline in our sales tax revenue, which is about $3.4 million. So where do we find that, you know? So, so that was, and I do want to say about the sales tax, when we went through COVID, we were told, oh my gosh, you're going to have so many losses, and they were expecting maybe 30%, up to 30% loss, and all around us, everybody experienced sales tax declines. Not us. During COVID, we went strong, and we saw increases. Our two number one sales tax people in the city were just doing amazing during COVID. So we didn't have that, and it kind of makes me wonder, are we having that decline now? I'm not sure, but we were in a bubble during COVID when everybody else was losing sales tax revenue. We were gaining, so it kind of makes me wonder a little bit. The second major challenge to the budget was the end of our hazard mitigation grant. This is something that we've anticipated since the day we got the grant. It's about $2 million. Theirs is a city share cost, so we are going to realize $1.8 million. This is a result of the Camp Fire, and when people moved into our city and building and everything took off, we were awarded this hazard mitigation grant to help our city hire the personnel to take care of all the additional building and all the things that were going on. So this is going to end next year. We are just said approximately maybe the revenues are going to go down about $600,000. I talked to Ron about it today. We were billing them about $200,000 a quarter, and probably depending on what billing we get done this year, we'll probably only get one quarter next year.
How much?
One quarter, so maybe $180,000 to $200,000 net. Is that right?
We have, I'm doing the final submission. I'm taking this grant down right now. And I'm doing the final submission. We have about $83,000 left to submit for, but we do have about 180 that still hasn't been, we haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
So
Maybe 200,000.
Yeah, around
that we'll
200,000.
get. So we'll lose about 600,000 next year. So on top of the sales tax, this is another thing. And the last thing is just a major change in expenditures. It's a fire contract. We had two amendments last year. One was for the mechanic of $198,000, and the other amendment was for the state legislation that was forced onto us, and that came to you already in the amount of $786 increase to the contract. So there's almost $1 million that started out this budget year in costs that we didn't have last year. So decreased revenue, increased expenditures, which we all knew that was going on, but not to this extent. This is just a really challenging year. So I do hope that as we go through the year, you consider things that Chief Wine says, hey, this is going to be offset by this. And that's how we're going to have to do things going forward.
Yeah, it's really kind of a comment and a question, but the amendment for the increased staff of the 786 to 642, that's basically the movement of the 72-hour work week to the 66-hour work week. I'm going to raise it because the city fire department personnel worked a 56-hour work week. So had we had the city firefighters on, we would never have had that expenditure. I'm just helping a technical issue. And I raise that because it's increasing costs. It was borne by the state, and I'll be reminding us all that, as we look at things, it may be a lot cheaper to go that path. We would have never had that $786,000 cost. The mechanics item, I hope to bring that back to the city to be doing the full mechanics in the future. as we get the shop and everything up to speed. And I know they've been hiring mechanics, so I certainly look forward to that coming back to the city too. We're in kind of a catch-all right now because we had staffing changes and we're moving the new shop. So that's just an open comment.
Yeah.
Appreciate that and appreciate your numbers and giving us a heads up.
So you're probably wondering, with all of this that hit our budget this coming next year, how did we balance it? So you're probably asking how we did that. So I want to tell you how we did that. We put all the increases to the fire contract to the district tax fund, and we pushed 2 police officers that were funded in the general fund over to the district tax fund, and it balanced. So we are able to balance both the general fund and the district tax fund, and they're both considered general fund, but we keep them separate for accountability. But we don't have budgeted in there this year a little transfer to capital projects. We don't have a transfer to capital assets. We don't have, we had been transferring in the past to increase our general reserve, which we still have 9 million. But we don't have those in this budget. There just wasn't any room. So that's how we balanced it.
And we also had one-time monies that were coming in from Camp Fire and, unfortunately, the disasters.
I just don't
And
see
so
that.
we've depleted
That
those
has really-
resources.
Really dried up as well. So that's how we balance the budget.
Thank
Right now,
you.
the fire contract is 50/50, 50 general fund, 50% district tax fund. And that's where we are.
Okay. Any questions from staff in the public hearing? Any comment cards on this item?
None submitted, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, and this is mostly informational at this point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be brought to you on the 17th for adoption.
Okay. I'll just add that you're going to see a strange comment come in from a firefighter that my worry is we have to pay for one and lose police positions. And I'm going to give my personal priority to that. I don't want to see us lose any police positions anywhere. So if I come up with creative ideas to keep more cops on the road, so be it. And yes, I'm a past firefighter, but I'm saying that. I shouldn't be saying it, but I am. All right. Any questions from any council members? We can move on. Information received. We'll close the public hearing. Any other comment cards for the public communication?
No,
Last
Mr.
one?
Mayor.
Okay. Future agenda items, council members? We already have one that's already on the tag.
Right.
Anyone else?
I'm good.
Okay, correspondence received. You know what, folks?
Yes.
I'm ready to adjourn this meeting. We now will adjourn the meeting to be held, the next meeting be held on June 17th, 2025 at 4 PM. We are adjourned. Thank you all.
Excellent.